we return now to one of our earlier stories, the Deputy Prime Minister confirming to us on Sky News that Australia won't be sending a warship to the Red Sea as part of that US-led coalition fighting back against the attacks from Houthi rebels. Let's bring in now for analysis Michael Shoebridge. He's the founding director of Strategic Analysis Australia. Michael, thanks. Great to see you as always. You've seen what Richard Marles and Andrew Hastie have had to say. What's your assessment as to where we've landed with this personnel going, but not a vessel?
Well, I think Andrew Hastie is in the right on this one from a national interest and national security point of view. I must admit, I think Deputy Prime Minister Richard Marles reminded me of that old Aerobar commercial. You know, it's the little bubbles of nothing that make it really something. So you're telling us that Australia's tripled our contribution by sending 11 extra people into our headquarters and telling us the Americans greatly appreciate this when they want warships. They want to shoot down these Houthi missiles and drones. That's what they want. So if it's true, as Richard Marles said, that 16 people in our headquarters and no warship to help actually confront this threat to a key global shipping lane is proportional and equitable to Australia's size in the world, Australia must have shrunk. We used to be able to send one warship to the Gulf on rotation, and we used to be able to do regional tasks with the rest of the Navy. To say somehow that this is an enormous distraction from the strategic clarity that we need to have on our region by sending one naval ship, it's embarrassing, and it tells you how weak our military has become despite us spending $52 billion a year on that military.
He said that this decision wasn't based on a lack of capability. It was based on that strategic point that you referred to, that he argues Australia and the Defence Strategic Review also pointed to this, that we need to do the heavy lifting in this region. That's his argument.
If we were doing the heavy lifting, he would have a point. There is no war in the Indo-Pacific. There's a tense strategic environment. Heavy lifting right now by the Australian military in our region would be helping the Philippines establish a new base on 2nd Thomas Shoal while the Chinese tried to stop that happening with water cannoning. Heavy lifting would be going within 12 nautical miles of the illegal bases that China has built in the South China Sea. We're doing neither of those things. We're doing peacetime exercising and patrolling. That is not heavy lifting. The heavy lifting that needs to be done right now is keeping that key global shipping channel that joins our region, the Indo-Pacific, with Europe, keeping that open and dealing with the clear and present threat from the Houthis.
Do you believe that it's also underpinning this? Is a lack of capability? We know that the surface fleet review, I'm talking about these reviews, but they did flow one to the other, didn't they? The defence review on overall strategy, that did flow into this other one known as the surface fleet review, which is going to be delivered in the first quarter of next year. Do you believe that it will show a lack of capability which would underpin this particular decision?
Absolutely, but we know that now. We do not have to wait for yet another government decision on yet another review that the government requested. I remember being told the government was coming into power with urgency and they were going to act. And the strategic review was going to be a short, sharp review because things needed to be done. Well, the things that needed to be done was to spawn a bunch of other reviews that took even more time. This government is pretending that weakness is a virtue. And all of this stuff about focusing on the region, if only it were true that we had credible military power in our region and we were doing the heavy lifting.
Michael Shoebridge, Founding Director of Strategic Analysis Australia. Thank you as always. We really appreciate your time. All the best for the new year. We'll talk to you soon.